Hello everyone, my name is Alessia Schneider and these are detailed advanced pole video lessons. Today we are going to learn the flip through the handstand with a twisted grip. Make sure that you have looked and work out the previous lesson well. The handstand on one hand, the second with a twisted grip. And then we can proceed to our flip. Let's start with the preparatory exercise. Stand as if you want to go into a sand handstand and practice a swing up using your inside straight leg. The outside leg performs a soft push from the floor. Make sure that the body goes straight up so that the pelvis does not go away from the pole. Keep your back straight. At the moment of the preparatory exercise, we need to swing up maximum until the stand position. That is, do not jump over the pole line yet. And now we go directly to the flip. Since this is a dynamic element, we will not hold or stop in the stand, and the first variation of the flip passes through the position of the stand and then the way out, which we analyzed in the last lesson, a hook under the knee. So perform a swing with the inside leg and the swinging leg goes beyond the line of the pole. Then by passing the position of the stand, the outside leg goes up, takes the pole under the knee, and we lift the supporting arm up to the pole above the knee, pull ourselves up and go out into the cross position. Please note that during the flip, pelvis goes as high up as possible. Our outside leg also tries to grip the pole under the knee as high as possible. That is, we pull the straight leg up along the pole in order to take the pole and not the inside hand. And when you feel a good grip under the knee, we remove the hand from the floor, pull ourselves up, engaging muscles of the torso and bending the inside arm, then move the outside arm up. So we have sorted out the first simpler variation of the flip. Now we move on to a more complex and spectacular variation. Since this variation is really more complicated, then you may need spotting for the first time. Or you can put a mat in front of you so that the supporting arm is on the floor, but beyond it there is a mat on which you will land. And if you ask somewhere to spot you, then let him spot you holding the pelvis. Please note that the spotting will be quite intense because your body will fly forward almost into a free fall, which is quite difficult to control. That is why this variation is more complicated and you need to take care of your safety in advance. Please do not neglect this issue. Here you can not only fall, but there is also a risk of injury. I don't want to scare you, but the truth is safety comes first. So now let's move on to the technique. What you need to know in this flip. First, the upper hand should hold the pole very well and lower it down. You will hold mainly on the upper hand, and if it slips, then the flip will be unsafe for you. So make sure that the upper hand holds very well and you lower the pole down during the flip. Now the second point. What happens to the supporting arm? This is the most important thing. When you go into a flip, your palm looks forward. When your pelvis goes beyond the line of the pole and begins to move forward, then your shoulders begin to pull and you cannot move further in the same position. And then the outside supporting hand begins to turn with the fingers to the pole. We bend the elbow a little, let the palm turn to the pole, then back and further to the side. That is, we scroll the palm across the floor almost a full circle. That is why it is important that your upper hand holds the pole well, so that you can hang on it a little. Because if you can't transfer your body weight to the upper arm, then you won't be able to scroll on the supporting arm. And for exactly the same reason, the turn occurs at the moment when the pelvis has already crossed the line of the pole. After all, when the pelvis is located exactly above the shoulders, that is the position of the stand, then the lower arm is a support for the whole body, so it will not be able to scroll. Let's look again at the turn of the supporting arm, but closer. So initially our fingers are looking forward, and when the pelvis has crossed the line of the pole, we begin to bend the supporting arm slightly, remove the body weight from it and turn the fingers of our palm to the pole. And when our legs and pelvis lower to the floor, our hand is comfortable to turn further back and then to the side. At the moment of turning, it is very good if someone holds you tightly by the pelvis in case your hand does not start turning. For example, you gripped the floor with your palm too tightly, or you could not hold on with your upper hand anymore. Or you starting trying to turn your hand too easily when the pelvis had not yet crossed the line of the pole and the turn did not work. If the lower arm does not turn, then there is a risk of injury, so it's very important that someone holds you, so that if anything happens, you can even completely remove your hand from the floor and gently lower yourself, or you could be stopped before your pelvis falls lower into the position where your flexibility no longer allows holding the supporting arm without turning. And in general, if the supporting is very good and the person is able to hold you, then your assistant can slowly hold your pelvis moving into the right position, giving you time to figure out how your outside supporting arm turns. Let's now analyze what happens to the torso in this flip. We swing with a straight back, but then we begin to go into a controlled arch. Pay attention, your pelvis goes forward first, and your inside swinging leg bends slightly immediately after the swing, and the first one goes to the floor. It is very important in this flip to maintain the maximum frontal legs opening, that is, to leave your outside leg straight away in the opposite direction from the swinging leg. This will allow you to carry your body weight a little more smoothly and better control the flip and falling down. So your swinging leg foot moving to the floor with the toes and touches the floor first. It's important to lower not the entire foot, but the toes, and then gently lower the heel, perhaps not even to the end, and soften the landing with the bent knee holding the pelvis in the air, and then lowering it gently without dropping it. And then your hand turns and you move to the final position of the flip. Sitting, the swinging leg is bent, the second leg is straight. Let's look at the flip again. After the body overcomes the pole line, it begins to fall to the floor more quickly, and therefore landing on our inside leg may not be quite soft. We try to soften this landing as much as possible. Let me remind you, we do this due to the fact that toes land first and not the whole foot. We also open our legs as much as possible and then gently lower the pelvis. And of course, if you hold on to the upper arm perfectly, it will help a lot to turn your supporting arm. There are a lot of technical nuances in this flip which are important to observe for safety and for beautiful execution. Therefore, before you start practicing this flip, make sure that you understand every moment. You can separately practice the position of the upper arm, lower the pole down, make sure that you hold on very well. Of course, it's important to do a stand perfectly, then start with a simpler flip and gradually, preferably using spotting, move on to the final flip. Also, when you are standing in the preparatory position of the stand before the swing, you can turn your palm with your fingers to the pole to feel where your hand will begin to turn. It is useful to train at least the start of the rotation of the supporting arm. So, we have learned the technique of flip over the stand with the twisted grip. Please make sure that your level allows you to train this flip. Let me remind you that we also have detailed lessons for both beginner and intermediate levels. Links to these playlists can be found in the description under this video. And it's very important to move gradually in the pole development, improving your level to make sure that the base is perfectly worked out. And it's important to understand that at an advanced level you need to be a little more careful, be more attentive to safety, use a mat or spotting. Remember that our lessons are online and unfortunately we cannot control how you perform this or that element. And even with the most careful study of the lesson, something you may not immediately understand or not immediately be able to coordinate all movements. Therefore, it is great to train with someone, to sort out these lessons with your friend in the studio so that you can support each other. This will be the most effective and safe. So you can take this idea into account and implement it in the next training session. I wish you productive classes, excellent mood and of course excellent health. Subscribe to our channel, like and write in the comments if the lesson was useful for you. I hope so. And see you again in the next lessons. Bye!